My name is Eric Benari. This is Games People Play. In this episode, we will be playing the game Courtroom. Clinically, this game is most often seen in marital counseling and marital psychotherapy groups. Indeed, some marital counseling and marital groups consist of a perpetual game of Courtroom in which nothing is resolved since the game is never broken up, and in such cases, it becomes evident that the counselor or therapist is heavily involved in the game without being aware of it. The game Courtroom can be played by any number, but it is essentially a three-handed game with a plaintiff, a defendant, and a judge, represented by a husband, wife, and therapist. If it is played in a therapy group or over the radio or TV, the other members of the audience are cast as the jury. The husband begins plaintively, "Let me tell you what my wife did yesterday. She took the blah blah blah, etc., etc." Then the wife responds defensively, Here is the way it really was. And besides that, just before that, he was yada yada yada. And anyway, at that time, we were both blah blah blah." The husband adds gallantly, "Well, I'm glad you people have had a chance to hear both sides of the story. I only want it to be fair." At this point, the counselor says judiciously, "It seems to me that if we consider blah blah blah, if there is an audience, the therapist may also throw it to them with, well, let's hear what the others have to say." Or if the group is already trained, they will play to the jury without any instruction from him. Let's discuss the antithesis. The therapist says to the husband, "You're absolutely right. If the husband relaxes complacently or triumphantly, the therapist asks, 'How do you feel about me saying that?' The husband replies, 'Fine.' Then the therapist says, 'Actually, I feel that you were wrong.' If the husband is honest, he will say, 'I knew that all along.' If he is not honest, he will show some reaction that makes it clear that a game is in progress. Then it becomes possible to go into the matter further. The game element lies in the fact that while the plaintiff is overly clamoring for victory, fundamentally he believes that he is wrong. After sufficient clinical material has been gathered to clarify the situation, the game can be interdicted by a maneuver which is one of the most elegant in the whole art of antithetics. The therapist makes a rule prohibiting the use, as in the grammatical use, of the third person in the group. Thenceforward, the members can only address each other directly as you, or talk about themselves as I, but they cannot say, "Let me tell you about him," or "Let me tell you about her." At this point, the couple can stop playing games in the group altogether. Or they can take up the game called Furthermore, which is going to be no help at all. In the game of Furthermore, the plaintiff makes one accusation after the other. The defendant replies to each, I can explain. The plaintiff pays no attention to the explanation, but as soon as the defendant pauses, he launches into his next indictment with another Furthermore statement, which is followed by another explanation, a typical inner-parent, inner-child interchange. The game Furthermore is played most intensely by paranoid defendants. Because of their literalness, it is particularly easy for them to frustrate accusers who express themselves in humorous or metaphorical terms. In general, metaphors are the most obvious traps to avoid in a game of Furthermore. In its everyday form, Courtroom is easily observed in children as a three-handed game between two siblings and a parent. "Mommy, she took my candy away." "Yes, but he took my doll, and before that he was hitting me. And anyway, we both promised to share our candy." Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next game we will play.